Glazing with inks? Hey, bada bing, bada bang, let's get it done! Alrighty, so first off, I wanted to tell you that it's going to be airbrush glazing and not brush glazing. So the first thing you're going to do here is primer it black or a dark color. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to do some under shading, and I do have a video dedicated to under shading, but it's selective under shading because I'm not only just doing the skull portion and the zenithal, I'm also getting the tips of those energy spikes going out. So I'm doing that as well, and this is a really important process. Getting your undershading right, knowing where your highlights, where you want your highlights to be, is super important. So once we get that established, we could start using straight ink. I'm using Vallejo Game ink, which they're very, very forgiving, and it's a really deep purple for this Scietian sun that I wanted to get. So that's my taste in particular. Now I could have done this in red, or I could have done it in green, or anything that I wanted to do it in. The idea here is really, really simple, is to get your undershading right, and then you can make it as rich or as light as you want to. I'm doing an extra rich color of purple there. And next up, I'm just going to finish allowing you to see what I'm going to do with the glazing with ink with the base as well. But one of the things, if you're doing the Scietian sun, for example, you would do some edge highlighting. Remember, when you're doing edge highlighting, to use the side of the brush and not the tip of the brush. All right, so let's talk about that base. Okay, just like we did the undershading on the Scietian sun, we're actually going to do it on the base too, and this actually creates a glowing effect, and it's pretty cool to do. So the first thing I'm going to do, I have some flagstones here, so I'm going to do a two-tone highlight, and that's where I'm going to do a blue-gray, heavy blue-gray from Vallejo Game Extra Opaque, and I'm going to start with that, and then I'm going to hit a lighter gray. I think I used my primer to get with that as well, and just trying to get the edges of the flagstone. Personally, I like this style, so it seems as if, you know, it's highlight from just one angle. But just like the Scietian sun, you actually have to get this undershading done to your liking, because whatever you put in now, the time and effort you put into this stage, it's going to show up on your final project when you actually start glazing. And speaking of which, I'm going to get that glow, so I'm not trying to paint all the flagstones purple, but I just want to get right in the center of that and just like let it spill over. And again, it's the same kind of purple. Now I'm doing a very light glaze. See how like understated that is? And that's exactly what I wanted to go for. I didn't want it to be too rich. I mean, it's going to be rich in the center, but I wanted it to taper off so the glow isn't like too overpowering. And that's what I wanted to get for that. And that's an easy way to do glow marks on the floor. I mean, you can take this and apply it in smaller scale or larger scale if you want to. Another thing that I like to do is to paint my base. I paint them black. I do want to separate the world that I'm creating on the base with the rest of the world that's, you know, in the display cabinet or on the field. I want this to be in its isolation in the world that I'm creating. And really, it does a lot for the contrast of the base and the miniature when you have that black base. I like the black base anyway. All right, so if you are actually building the Scietian sun, it's time for the glue. These are like push fit when it comes to gluing them down to the base. It's a little weird, so yeah, it takes a little finagling, but there it is. And now what I'm going to do is, since there's no metallic paint in here, I am going to use AK Interactive Super Matte Varnish, Ultra Matte. And that's it. Well, now you can see, it's real easy to get the effects that you want. Well, if you like this video, like, share, comment, and subscribe, and we'll catch you next time on the Miniatures Paintbrush.